Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here with a book haul. This past Saturday was Independent Bookstore Day in the United States, which I feel that every day could be is Independent Bookstore Day, because bookstores are just magnificent places that always deserve as much support as they can get. And this past Saturday, I went to visit the Bookworm in Surf City, New Jersey, and I picked up 8 books. It's been a while. The last time I went there was in November because they close after Christmas and they remain closed until the spring. But it seemed like there were a lot of books that caught my attention, and I had to narrow it down to 8 of them. So I got 4 fiction and 4 nonfiction books, and we're going to start with the fiction that I picked up while I was there. The first thing that I got was Middle Sea by William H. Gass, and this is the first thing in the store that caught my attention. And for this book, I'm just going to read the back because it seems like the summary will help you understand the work much more. It begins in Graz, Austria in 1938, when Joseph Skizzen's father pretends to be Jewish and emigrates to avoid the Nazis. In London with his wife and children for the duration of the war, he mysteriously disappears, and the rest of the family relocates to a small town in Ohio. Here, Joseph Skizzen grows up and leads a resolutely ordinary life, but one that is built on a scaffold of forgery and deceit. Outwardly, he is a professor of music at a mediocre college. Secretly, he is the earnestly obsessive curator of a private inhumanity museum meant to contain the guilt of centuries of atrocities. Middle Sea tells the story of his journey, a story that is also an investigation into the nature of identity and the ways in which each of us is several selves. This is something that can definitely serve as a mindgasm. It's really fascinating, the psyche of the subject at hand. Next thing that I picked up was The Stonemason by Cormac McCarthy, and this is a play about a family of black stonemasons in Louisville, Kentucky. And what interested me is that this is a title by Cormac McCarthy that I was not too familiar with. I knew about The Road, No Country for Old Men, The Blood Meridian, and this is an area that I probably saw it on a list of works of his, but it really seems fascinating what Cormac McCarthy could potentially do with this, and writing in a play format. I'm very curious to see how he executes it. Next thing that I got is A Single Pebble by John Hersey, which I currently own Hiroshima, A Bell for Adano, and the Algiers motel incident. This is about a man going to China and inspecting the Yangtze River, and how he becomes pulled in by the citizens, and it really begins to turn things upside down, he and his relationship with the natives. And John Hersey is a lot like James Michener in the way that he's known for telling the stories of so many people and cultures not familiar to him or to us. And the last fictional book that I got is The Vegetarian, which was written by Han Kang and translated by Deborah Smith. And this is the Man Booker International Prize winner of last year. I had made mention in the Mellon book tag that this is a book that I wanted to get to. I got enough of encouragement from the BookTube community, and now I'm going to give it a try when I get the opportunity. But this is described as a Kafkaesque or an absurdist work about a woman who becomes a vegetarian after enduring a brutal, a brutal nightmare that led her to this decision. And her family, her husband, and other relatives discourage her from doing so and actually take physical steps to stopping her. I'm really curious to see how this melds together. And The Vegetarian is a work of South Korean literature, and I'm really looking into getting into Han Kang's works. I want to do more research on her. And the nonfiction books that I came across here, I'm really beginning to get into nonfiction. This wall, this shelf here is all books that are either about the presidents as a collective or are presidential biographies. And it's really starting to fill up. I'm probably going to need to expand onto another shelf or even start on the sides. But I got 4 more non-fictional books, and the first one is The Soul of an Octopus, a surprising exploration into the wonder of consciousness by Montgomery. And this has to do with Montgomery's research about the emotions of octopi and the many collective feelings that they displayed. According to the back of the book, some of her experiences included a gentle octopus like Athena, an assertive octopus like Octavia, a curious octopus like Callie, and a joyful octopus like Karma. And I'm just really enthralled to see the many experiences that Montgomery had when she was interacting with octopi. And another related book that I got with regard to marine biology in prose is The Secret Life of Lobsters. How Fishermen and Scientists Are Unraveling the Mysteries of Our Favorite Crustacean by Trevor Corson. And I would say that this book is a lot like The Soul of the Octopus, only The Soul of the Octopus, from what I'm getting, has a lot to do with the psychology of the animal. This one is more of an overall examination. The fishermen, the scientists, and from the lobsters themselves, and they're just an overall account of their actions, their impact. And I remember reading an article where they made mention of the fact that they talk a lot about how cruel the deaths of animals such as chickens, pigs, and cows are. But lobsters are boiled alive in their shells, which it has been deemed to be, the article argues that it is the cruelest form of termination of an animal before it is consumed. And I think a lot of that contributes to the reasoning behind it being non-kosher, and hence it's not consumed by Jewish people. Next thing that I picked up is something I heard about on BookTube, and that is Quiet: The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. And I think that this can be summarized in one sentence, in that it has to do with the impact that introverts have had and can have in society. Last thing that I got is something that really caught my attention. Well, all of these caught my attention, but this one, after reading her previous book, really encouraged me to pick this up, and that is Secondhand Time, The Last of the Soviets in World History by Svetlana Alexievich, and she was the Nobel Prize in Literature winner from 2015. I read and reviewed Voices from Chernobyl, which I'll leave a link down to that review. This is it's written very much like Voices from Chernobyl, where she is recording the words of Soviet Russian citizens. Only in this case, it's not about those that were affected by Chernobyl, but instead it has to do with those that were affected by the fall of the Soviet Empire and the transition into the eras of Boris Yeltsin and Vladimir Putin, which it covers the years of 1991, which is when the empire fell, to 2012, which is when this started. This is when they began to put this together, which there may very well be people that were affected by Chernobyl in this work, but the topic at hand is the fall of the Soviet Empire and the post-Soviet Russia, and how it made an impact on, and how people were affected and how they responded. Alrighty, this is everything I got on my trip to the Bookworm. Here's my fiction. Here's my nonfiction. And here is everything together. I hope that those of you that were aware of Independent Bookstore Day had a great visit and were able to accumulate many more books into your collection. I hope that you share with us what you got on your visit. And I hope you tune into some more videos on our channel. Thank you again, and for now, keep reading.